on your side. NBC12 News at 11 starts with breaking news.
Breaking right now at 11, Russia's invasion into Ukraine has begun after several large explosions are reported in the nation's capital of Kyiv. This is a live look at the city center where you can see electricity still on and cars still visible tonight.
This invasion comes in the midst of a second emergency UN meeting held at the request of the Ukrainian president. And tonight, the chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, Virginia Senator Mark Warner, issued the following statement, saying in part, "For more than 70 years, we've avoided large-scale war in Europe." He went on to say, "We can no longer hold out hope that this standoff will be resolved peacefully. Therefore, we must all, on both sides of the aisle and both sides of the Atlantic, work together to demonstrate to Putin that this aggression will not be allowed to go unpunished."
And right now, we want to get you the latest out of Washington, D.C., where we have been tracking what is going on in Kyiv.
Alice Barr has more on the developments that have happened in the last few hours.
Tonight, Russian President Vladimir Putin ordering a military operation in eastern Ukraine. Explosions heard in Kyiv, Ukraine's capital city. New satellite images showing Russian equipment and a field hospital close to the Ukraine border. Ukraine's president imposing a national state of emergency tonight and appealing directly to the Russian people in a bid to avoid war. For the second time this week, the United Nations Security Council holding an emergency meeting after the Kremlin said Russian-backed separatists in eastern Ukraine had appealed for military help in what could be a pretext for a broader invasion. NBC News correspondent Richard Engel witnessing firsthand the attacks coming into Ukraine from separatist regions where Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Right now, it is 6:20 in the morning in Kyiv. That was Alice Barr reporting. All new at 11, pandemic protocols rolling back, mask mandates easing, and festivals are making a triumphant return to Central Virginia, a sign that normalcy may be around the corner.
In fact, just today we've learned that Friday Cheers will return to Browns Island. The return of these beloved events, a sure sign that Virginia tourism is picking back up.
AJ Nwoko joins us now. He's been following the story and talking about trends with the Department of Tourism. AJ.
Yeah, the Department of Tourism says that the Richmond sports scene might be a large reason why tourism is booming here in Central Virginia, but that can't be said for the rest of the state. RVA Cheers is back at Browns Island for its 37th season with a brand new lineup, but no new pandemic restrictions. There's no mention of social distancing or pods this time around like last year either. Some say it's a sign that tourism is returning to normal in Central Virginia.
Yes, and it's been quite a ride in the last 24 months.
But RVA Tourism President Jack Barry says business over the past 7 months has been booming like never before.
The past July was our best July we've ever had, which is unheard of during the pandemic. August, September, October, November, December, January, everyone was a record month.
That's according to market trends data from Richmond Region Tourism. This past December, hotel occupancy in Richmond and Petersburg was nearly 60%. That's up nearly 20% from 2020 and up nearly 10% from 2019. Revenue per available rooms followed a similar trajectory. So what's driving the trend?
We have recovered, not with business travel because that's not returned, meetings and conventions have not returned, but we have sports tourism, family and friends, and the leisure traveler are coming in record numbers.
The Richmond Flying Squirrel saw a similar boost.
In terms of attendance, we were able to ramp up closer to the middle of June, and we were backed up to 100%. So we're riding that momentum now into 2022.
But Barry says the area's tourism boom has been in a bubble. Other areas of the state are still lagging behind Central Virginia in terms of hotel occupancy and the revenue they generate.
It's somewhat of a Central Virginia phenomena.
Yeah, so Richmond is, again, that tourism is booming here in Central Virginia. The rest of the state is still lagging behind, but Barry expects some of that to change as we get closer to the summer months. That'll do it for us now here live in Richmond. AJ Nwoko, NBC12.
All right, AJ, thank you. Right now, we would like to continue to get back to that breaking news tonight after Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a military operation in eastern Ukraine. Right now, we're being joined by NBC's Alice Barr, who is in Washington, D.C.
And Alice, it's about 6:20 in the morning there in the capital city of Kyiv. We've seen live pictures of a lot of traffic on the road, yet in the distance, I guess there are explosions at this hour. Do we know anything about the safety of the people in the capital city at this time?
Well, in fact, Kurt and Simone, NBC News has confirmed from Ukrainian officials that there have been missile strikes in the capital city of Kyiv. And this is kind of what we've seen throughout this entire crisis, really, as life has carried on, particularly in Kyiv, but in many parts of Ukraine, even as the threat of war has loomed ever closer and larger and larger. And it's not entirely clear where those strikes are landing. Of course, Ukraine is a far cry from these eastern regions of Ukraine where Russian President Vladimir Putin said he was ordering a special military operation. But Ukrainian officials telling NBC News that, in fact, there have been missile strikes that have struck within the city of Kyiv, the capital city. That is something that the Biden administration had said intelligence was indicating that Kyiv itself would be targeted when this broader invasion began.
Any thoughts on the safety of the president? I know the U.S. has suggested that he leave the country, and earlier he had vowed not to do that.
Right, and that's a great point. There had been discussions between the Biden administration and members of the Ukrainian government about making plans for Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, to leave Kyiv and go to a western city of Lviv. We heard just earlier tonight from President Zelensky. He was very emotional. He was very firm. He has continued to tell the Ukrainian people not to be afraid of anything, not to back down. When he spoke earlier this evening, he actually spoke in Russian for a large part of his address, speaking directly to the Russian people, trying to tell them that Ukraine wants peace and that Russia's president could be starting a large war on the continent of Europe, as he put it. So at this point, no sign that he is planning to leave Kyiv right now, for sure.
And Alice, we heard from President Biden tonight as he posted a statement on Instagram. As far as things are concerned for U.S. troops, any sign or word of what Biden will be doing as far as responding to this possible attack?
Well, President Biden has said over and over that no U.S. troops will be entering Ukraine, that the U.S. has no intention of fighting Russia, getting into any kind of direct conflict. There's been somewhat of a buildup of U.S. troops in NATO-allied Eastern European countries. That is where the obligation stands for the United States right now, to defend other nations that are within that NATO security alliance. Ukraine, of course, is not. So at this point, no intention to go in there. President Biden did say that, the entire world is praying as they're watching what he called an unjustified and unprovoked attack against Ukraine, and said that Russia alone will bear the consequences for tremendous human suffering. The president is planning to speak tomorrow morning with top allies in the G7, a group of nations, and then in the afternoon he is set to address this nation, address the American public, and talk about more sanctions that will be rolled out against Russia now in response to these quickly changing developments tonight.
All right, Alice Barr reporting live from the nation's capital on the crisis in Kyiv. Alice, thank you so much for your report. Let's turn now to our forecast here in Central Virginia. A live check of current temperatures. Still fairly mild out there tonight, but things are getting colder. Meteorologist Megan Wise joining us now. Megan, hopefully people were able to get out and enjoy the mild temps today, because we're going to be back in the 40s tomorrow.
40s and rainy, Simone. So hopefully you did get a chance earlier this afternoon or even this evening to get out. We still have temperatures that are cool for this time of year in the evening. We're still sitting in the 50s across our area. 57 back towards Farmville. We're in the mid-50s from Powhatan into Amelia County. We have temperatures in the mid-50s from New Kent over towards West Point at 57 degrees. Hanover and Tappahannock both at 54 degrees. We have seen a little bit in the way of an increase in cloud cover tonight. We're still at 56 degrees though at Richmond International. Winds out of the north at 13 miles per hour, and you can see first alert Doppler radar still quiet for now. We are, though, going to be watching rain move in. It looks like just in time for your morning commute. We'll see a few mainly light showers making their way into our area. Temperatures throughout the overnight, though, dropping close to 40 degrees. So it will be a cold start to the day tomorrow. Make sure that you do have your jackets with you throughout the day. We will not make it out of the 40s, and I'll walk you through the latest hour by hour for the rain tomorrow here in just a bit. Kurt?
All right, we'll check back shortly. Thanks, Meg. Now, let's talk about how that crisis in Europe will impact you. We already know gas prices are going up, and once again, prices at the pump are hitting levels that have not been seen in more than a decade. And with oil closing in on $100 a barrel, it'll only get worse. Here are the numbers as of tonight. The nationwide average, $3.54 a gallon. Across Virginia, $3.41. The average in Richmond, about 2 cents below that. AAA is saying not just tensions in Europe causing this spike in prices.
There's a lot of feeling among investors and a lot of countries out there trying to get their economies back to pre-pandemic. So we see a lot of economies ramping back up closer to where they were 2019.
And with travel season around the corner, AAA says that increase in demand could push prices even higher. Some possible relief may come from discussions between the U.S. and Iran. If that were to go through, Iran could start selling crude oil to the U.S. again, which may help lower prices. And while Virginia is being spared from any major storm impacts, tonight more than 50 million Americans are under winter weather alerts. That's because another major storm is making its way from the central part of the country to the northeast. And it's already caused over 1,000 cancellations and delays for airlines. It's been a week of turbulent weather all across the country. In Oklahoma, freezing rain and sleet began falling this morning as a winter storm makes its way from Texas to New England. Some areas are bracing for more than 24 hours of wintry precipitation. At times, ice could be so heavy it could knock down trees or power lines.
Throw out a little salt, see if that helped. It did a little bit, but it's really tough out here.
The winter weather also causing problems in the skies. Hundreds of flights in and out of Dallas-Fort Worth had to be canceled today, while about 500 have already been canceled for Thursday. Some people left town early to avoid disruptions.
I called, sat on hold for a long time. They called me back about an hour and a half later and got me on an earlier flight. I feel good as long as I get out of here right now.
Meanwhile, parts of the upper Midwest are digging out after another storm dropped near record snow this week, and the region is getting no relief. Temperatures have dropped to single digits and wind chills are as low as -50 in some places. Transportation officials say the bitter cold is impacting cleanup efforts.
Our materials like salt and brine, they're not going to work as well. It's just going to take some time for materials to really do their thing.
Now, the good news here, that storm should move off the Atlantic coast sometime Friday night.
Developing right now, truckers are heading to the nation's capital this week. The group hoping to create a D.C. gridlock to protest pandemic restrictions. The first convoy of trucks took off from Scranton, Pennsylvania this morning. Truckers plan to stop in Harrisburg and Baltimore to gather more supporters. The group says they are not only protesting pandemic-related issues, but also the U.S. government.
We have to stand up for our rights, our freedoms. I mean, our government's taking them away. We're supposed to be the most freest country in the world, and we're being restricted.
Another and much larger convoy of trucks also took off from California. That group also plans to have several stops in their cross-country protest. As the truckers converge, D.C. ramps up its security tonight. More than 700 unarmed National Guard troops will be deployed to help local police with the traffic. Security is also being tightened around the Capitol as the city gets ready for the president's State of the Union address next week.
A man steals a crossbow in quite the unusual way. Coming up, we'll show you how this thief brought new meaning to the phrase concealed weapon.
And later it takes plans, helicopters, and a few hundred miles worth of detours, but a dad makes it just in time. His remarkable journey to be there for the birth of his son.
In just a few weeks, the Dancing Grannies will make their first appearance since 4 members of the troupe were killed after a man drove through a Christmas parade back in December. While the events of that day have left a devastating mark on the community and the group, the Grannies say they've been hard at work to rebuild and overcome. And now they have 20 women in training for next month's return of Milwaukee's St. Patrick's Day Parade.
Since Waukesha, I think, after the grieving, I pulled through with a lot of help from friends and some counseling. And it just kind of made me look forward to our future.
We feel very welcome. As I was following them on Facebook, I love to dance. And then when I saw the tragedy, I just wanted to be able to give back to them and support them.
Their routine will be full of sentiment. Jenny Sorensen, one of the fallen members, choreographed 2 Irish routines for the 2020 St. Patrick's Day Parade. Well, it was canceled and the routines were never used, but this group will be dancing to them this year.
All right, parents, listen up. We have a recall to tell you about. A recall has been issued for wooden teethers due to a potential choking hazard. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the string connecting the beads on the Baby O lot teethers can untie, releasing the beads. The affected products include shapes of butterflies, boats, flowers, and dinosaurs seen here. They're sold at Target among various other stores nationwide. If you have these products, you should contact the seller, and more details are on our website, NBC12.com.
New video out of Florida tonight. This time, a thief caught on camera giving new meaning to the term concealed weapon. You can see the moment that he stuffs a crossbow down his pants. This is a Lowe's store, by the way. He apparently took a pair of cutting tools from a shelf, then cut the zip ties off the crossbow. He then walked out of the store with a crutch. And the weapon, amazingly, goes undetected. But his freedom did not last. Officials took him into custody a few days later.
Accurate, reliable, breaking weather specialists. This is NBC 12 First Alert Weather.
We enjoyed a spring-like day today with temperatures that were right at 70 degrees at Richmond International. Tomorrow, temperatures returning more to a winter feel. We are not going to make it out of the 40s, and we also have some rain that's going to move in. So a chilly, raw day. Make sure that you stay bundled up throughout the day tomorrow. Also, make sure that you do have your rain gear. I'll walk you through the latest hour by hour, and we may still have a few lingering showers early Friday morning. And then the rest of the day Friday is looking dry. Temperatures Friday warm right back up. We're into the 60s for Friday. And then we go right back down as we go into the start of the weekend. We're back in the 40s. So overall, just a roller coaster ride of temperatures through at least the next 7 days. Right now, we still have a cool evening, mid-50s in Richmond. We have 54 up towards Tappahannock and Hanover. We have 55 in New Kent County, 57 from Chesterfield back towards Farmville. We have the mid-50s, Powhatan, Amelia County. A little bit of a breeze this evening, anywhere between about 7 to 13 miles per hour. And we are looking at a quiet first alert Doppler radar. No rain as of yet. It will, though, move in by the morning time frame. You can see clouds have already moved in on the satellite picture, and temperatures are going to turn chillier. We'll be at about 40 degrees early tomorrow morning. This is look at the hour by hour starting at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. Notice a few scattered showers starting to arrive in our area. They do become more widespread as we approach the lunchtime hour. Temperatures in the 40s during the afternoon. So all that falls is going to be just plain old rain, and this continues 3 o'clock in the afternoon through your evening commute. Does look like it should lighten up a little bit, at least to start the evening time frame. Still looking at a good deal of cloud cover, and then we'll see more scattered showers late tomorrow evening, and they'll continue overnight into early Friday morning. Could have a few lingering around through about mid-morning Friday, and then we are looking at drier conditions as we go into Friday afternoon and into the evening. We stay chilly though throughout the day tomorrow, only the low 40s, so make sure that you do have a heavier coat with you along with your umbrellas. As we go into Friday, we warm up into the upper 60s. The winds will pick up during the day, and again, a few showers during the morning can't be ruled out. And then Saturday looks beautiful, plenty of sunshine, just a chilly day, mid 40s. Sunday, closer to average, we're in the low 50s. We turn chilly again to start the work week. Next week we'll be in the mid 40s, and then by this time next week we'll be back close to 60 degrees. We will be right back after this break.
Well, you know what they say, age is nothing but a number. An 86-year-old woman in Rhode Island is definitely proving that is true. Twice a week for as far back as she can remember, Irma Mershon has been a go-getter when it comes to looking and feeling good. For the last 18 years, she's been teaching exercise classes to those at her local senior center. For an hour straight, Irma's workout keeps people on their toes. She says the class is her motivation, giving her a sense of purpose after losing her husband to Parkinson's.
And I said, exercise and get paid? I'll do it, yes.
She is like my army sergeant when I was in the army. She makes you move.
Irma says she wants her classes to inspire people to get out and move and socialize, and for extra motivation at the end, everyone is given a piece of hard-earned candy. Way to go.
How far would you go to make sure you were at the hospital for the birth of your son? Well, one dad from Maine, for him, it was hundreds of miles involving helicopters, planes, and cars. New at 11, Rosh Ketchke shares this family's amazing story.
February 20th arrival. I think I experienced every emotion possible.
It's a journey that's a good preview of the twists and turns of parenthood, all starting with a late-night phone call.
And it took me maybe 3 or 4 times of telling him, like, my water broke, like,
I was still
going
sleeping.
to the hospital.
Ryan Burkhart was a long way from his wife Emily and their home in Saco, working as a merchant marine in the Gulf of Mexico. He had planned to be home for her due date later this month, but instead, that phone call became the starting gun in a race against time.
So we thought for sure, like, there's no way that he's going to make it now.
The trip was a roller coaster, a delayed trip back to shore in a helicopter leading to missed flights. Before he knew it, Ryan was crisscrossing the country, glued to his phone for any updates from Emily.
I landed in Detroit and I messaged her. She's like, no, he hasn't come yet. So I was like, okay, I got a chance, yes.
Meanwhile, the soon-to-be mom was doing some stalling for her husband in the delivery room.
So the doctor's pretty busy running around, and I was like, yeah, take your time. I'm just going to hang out here.
Finally, Ryan touched down in Boston, about a 2-hour drive from the hospital in Portland.
I just hammered down. And then as soon as I got into Maine, I just messaged her. I said, hey, babe, I'm in Maine. And she's like, still not here.
And nearly 24 hours after that call, Ryan made it to the delivery room.
And they all stood up, started clapping. I could hear them, so I knew he was there. I guess my heart rate monitor went way up, and so did the babies.
Just about an hour later, the reunited couple welcomed their firstborn, a happy, healthy baby boy named Weston.
Aside from him actually arriving, it was probably the best feeling, aside from our wedding day, that I've ever experienced.
We're told that family is back home with Emily and Weston both doing well. And stay with us. We're back right after this.
We continue to follow that breaking news out of Kyiv tonight, where several explosions have rocked the Ukrainian capital following a Russian invasion.
It's about 6:45 in the morning there, and that situation rapidly unfolding. We, of course, will continue to monitor the situation as well as the United States response into the overnight hours. By the way, you can download the NBC12 News app for updates there, even when we are not on the air. And with that said, 12 News Today will start bright and early at 4:30, and that will do it for us at 11.
The Tonight Show is coming up next. We will see you right back here tomorrow. Have a great night.